All right, Atlas Camp, let's get rolling. My name is Adam, but most of you know that by now. But joining me today is Ali from PO Software. PO, sort of a partner we've been working closely with for probably over a year now on Teamwork Graph connectors. And so I probably need my clicker. Very excited, mostly excited to hear what Ali has to say. I'll be relatively quick, but just want to give a bit of context on the Teamwork Graph itself and why we're sort of investing in Forge connectors. Put simply, the Teamwork Graph is the connected data intelligence layer for the Atlassian Cloud. We know that our customers, especially our enterprise customers, use hundreds of different applications, services, and solutions to get work done. But in this distributed world where work is happening everywhere, the silos of knowledge and data get created by these disconnected apps. And so Teamwork Graph eliminates these by seamlessly connecting your Atlassian data with the data in your other apps as well. And what makes the graph special is that by doing that, it gets to know deeply about your organization, its people, its knowledge, and all the connections between them. And then this power is used to tailor personalized experiences across all of our products. So when your Jira issue shows you the connected data across your other apps, or when Rovo answers your questions by aggregating data from all of these different sources, or how in analytics you can see insights across the different products, all of these experiences are powered by Teamwork Graph. And as you could imagine, Teamwork Graph already operates at a tremendous scale. We have billions of objects and billions of relationships, and this rich network enables our products to deliver deeper insights and more personalized and powerful experiences. But although Teamwork Graph is already proving super powerful for customers, until now it's been mostly inaccessible to developers. And so that's where Forge Connectors comes in, allowing data from all different types of apps to be ingested into the graph to power all those amazing experiences I talked about. And with that, though, I will hand it over to you, Ali, to tell us about how you went about it.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Let's talk about how we can ingest high volumes of data from different data sources and silos using Teamwork Graph connectors. Before we continue, a quick introduction. I'm Ali. I'm a software engineer and architect at PO Software. You might recognize us from the data importer apps we have in the marketplace. We specialize in extracting high-volume data from external sources and ingest them to Atlassian native systems, such as assets and CSM in a structured way. We've been active in the marketplace for over 3 years now. And last year, we got the Atlassian Partner of the Year and Marketplace Rising Star Award, and we are very proud. Given our focus area, we were extremely excited to hear about Forge connectors and a native way to ingest data to Teamwork Graph. And thanks to the early access program, we got the privilege to work with talented teams from Atlassian, and we architected the system to bring data in Teamwork Graph. And this experience also gave us a very ambitious goal, bringing in more than 50 connectors to Teamwork Graph. For our connectors, we are using a unified Forge framework that we've implemented. We already have 6 connectors in production at the moment, and we're wrapping up the 8th one now, and it will be soon in production. And our source systems so far vary from CRM systems to work management, knowledge docs, and cloud storage, such as AWS S3. For us, the Rovo connector pages in the admin site gives us a very consistent user experience, and our new unified Teamwork Graph connector helps us get data from various sources and various domains, but provides a consistent experience for our users. We can quickly dive into the components that we use to create this framework. Next to the schedule triggers and queue systems, we also make use of the Jira admin pages to customize our integrations. And also, recently, we started using Rovo Dev rather, to to help us speed up our development. Rovo connector pages in the admin sites provides a unified look and experience for the admins. We can see all the connectors either from native Atlassian or from the third parties in one central panel. As you can see, the partner-made applications are distinguishable by the by company name information, and there is also something very handy here. The environment information for non-production apps are shown in the title. This is injected by Atlassian, and this is extremely handy when you're working on the same connector, but for different versions, different environments. Let's zoom in a connector. We use native connector screens that comes out of the box. And here you will see the connector name in the form. This is provided by Atlassian, and it's a standard information. But below, you see, in this case, the HubSpot API credentials. This is a custom form that we made. We only have one field here, but that's because we only need one API key to make the connection. If you need more, like client ID and secret, there's no problem. You can also edit in the form, in the configuration. We are going to go over it soon. I would like to touch upon the unified storage from Forge applications. We are defining the connectors in Forge apps. So when the connection is made, the information that we get from the form can be, and most likely will be stored in secure Forge storage. And since we are using different modules in a single app, this information is available for all the other modules. And for companies like us, which uses Jira admin pages to further customize the connectors, it becomes very handy, and this information will be available across the board for us. So I've been talking about the customization. Let's dive into it. SPO, we make use of Jira admin pages, and this is standard for all our applications. And Rovo connectors is no different. Once the connection is made from the unified storage, we're able to get the information, so we can actually start import processes. We give our customers, our users, instructions on how import process goes, what kind of data we import. We also provide functionality to set up scheduled imports. The imports can run multiple times a day. It's available for every hour of the day. In this particular example, I opted for syncing data at 2 a.m. or at 2 p.m. But schedulers are not the only way to start the process. You can also use the Start Import button, and when you click on the button, behind the scenes, the process starts, and in the admin logs, you can go and check the progress of the import. So once the import is done, and data is ingested in Teamwork Graph, we can use two different ways to access the data. One way to access data is via Confluence search. In this particular example, I have a work item that is imported from HubSpot. This item has to do with the old sync problem due to invalid data. So we ran the process, the data is ingested, and to search for this ticket, I simply write a few keywords from title. And in this case, this is invalid data. Once I do the search, of course, Confluence yields many results. And on the right side, you will see the HubSpot filter. The icon and the name comes from the connectors. And this is automatically added in the filter list. And when we click on it, we see our item. As you can see, we've ingested the title and the content of the ticket, as well as the URL. So when we click on the link, we go to HubSpot system, and we can view the actual work item in the native system. The other way to access the data is via Rovo search. In this example, I use Rovo chat to find and get more information about the work item. In the Rovo chat, I direct the question about HubSpot deal sync fails. Rovo chat locates the information within the teamwork graph system, and not only it returns the information about the work item and the URL, but it also returns relevant information about the ticket itself. Another important part, of course, the actual implementation of the connectors in Forge apps. There's a new module called Graph Connector. This is introduced by the Forge teams, and the connector configuration is done using this new module in the manifest YAML file. Teamwork Graph also defines a unified data model. This makes it extremely easy to standardize the input to Teamwork Graph system. There are also lifecycle hooks. This helps us with data validation and the connection data, managing the connection data within the Forge applications. And existing functionality like queues and schedule triggers are used to import high-volume data to Teamwork Graph and keep the data fresh. The Graph Connector module is actually quite a elaborate one. So I decided to split into 3 parts. In this first part, we see the basic setup. So for each connector, we define a key and a name, and we can also define the icons for the light and dark themes. But there's something very important to notice here. This is not a one-to-one mapping, so one Forge app doesn't have to have one connector. You can actually define multiple connectors in a single Forge app. This is very important to note. And as PO software, we are actually moving away from having individual apps for each connector, but rather we are going to be creating a multi-source importer for Teamwork Graph. The benefits of this approach is that once the app is installed, all the connectors will be available for our users, for our customers. And as we add more connectors and deploy the apps, then the customers will have directly access to these connectors in the Rovo connector admin pages. The second part of the configuration is the object types. I mentioned that there is a unified object model from Teamwork Graph. This, by the way, is a functionality that I really like very much because it really gives us a consistent way of dealing with data and converting data. And the consistency is something that we actually look for here. For each connector, upfront, we have to define the object types. But the object type configuration, again, is not for the application, but rather for individual applications. For HubSpot, we actually get documents, deal, customer organization, and like we saw before, the work item information. But for Gitbook, we only need the documents. That's why we have different configurations for different connectors. One of the more important configurations for the connectors is actually the form. Earlier, we saw a screenshot, and in this screenshot, we saw the HubSpot API token as an input for the connector. On the bottom right corner, you actually see where we define these fields. Again, I only need the one field, but you can define multiple fields of different types and set up a form for yourself. Once the form is ready and the user gives the input, the next stage is validation of the connection. When I take the HubSpot API token, before I save it in the database or I establish the connection, I actually do a validation across the HubSpot system. And if the token is valid, then I go ahead with the configuration. And if that's not the case, then what we do is we show an error to the user so that they can fix the problem. And until the problem is fixed, the connection is not going to be made. Once we have valid credentials, the next step is the on-connection change event. And one of the important parameters for this event is called action. And there are 3 values: edit, modified, or deleted. And and depending on this action, you can actually maintain your data storage. For add, you can add credentials. And if the user is removing the application, then we'll get the action deleted, and then we'll be able to wrap up the connection and clean everything up after. Queues are critical when dealing with large data volumes, and we use separate queues for each connector. This helps us with scalability and separation of concerns. And the schedule trigger mechanism is used to manage the scheduling part we've seen earlier. There's one thing to watch out here. There is actually a limited amount of triggers that you can use in the manifest file. So we opted for using a unified global scheduler to take care of the scheduling part. I'd like to also talk about the early access program. This is one of the reasons why we actually have 6 connectors available in production already. It was a very close collaboration where we got direct support and rapid feedback. I would like to also extend my gratitude to all the Atlassian teams we were lucky enough to work with. They have done a fantastic job. And only because of this partnership, we can even dream about creating more than 50 connectors. To wrap up, we think the framework way of thinking is very important for creating multiple connectors. Async processing is essential for frequently ingesting high-volume data and actually keeping the data fresh in the teamwork graph system. The early access program partnerships not only accelerate product development, but also enables teams to have a mature product. And if you are missing connectors for your systems, please reach out to us via contact@PO Software. We're happy to add new connectors for you to enable your workflows. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
So then, got some time for a couple of questions if anyone has one. Roving mics.
We have roving mics if anyone wants to stick their hand up with a question. Ian, that's you. I've got a helper.
You said that you have added the administration settings inside Jira, and also, like I see on the marketplace, that somehow the connectors are for Jira Cloud. I assume that's a limitation of the marketplace, or what? Why is that inside Jira and not inside the platform, basically?
Yeah, exactly. So that is, limitation of both of marketplace and the way Forge installations work. So ideally, a connector would be more global within what will eventually be the unit. So talked a little bit about the units. And so, as we, as this year, as we grow out sort of the global app installations, we'll switch over to that as well. So at the moment it just looks a bit janky, but that's kind of what we had to do just for the short term.
Thank you.
But importantly, the data does get ingested, is available across the site, like as you showed, in Confluence search, it's there at the moment. But just the installation happens in Jira.
Ready for the next question?
Sure.
So if data is added to the graph from external applications, what exactly is stored in this graph? Which data and how is this connection saved?
Yeah, do you want to answer that one? On the actual, it depends on the object type. I guess each have a different schema, but it's only text that gets saved. So even if you're I think doing a video, it's really just like the link to the video rather than the content itself. And so there was a question about the connection as well.
That was yes.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? What's saved for the connect? Like, I guess the sort of API keys and things are saved. But.
I mean, is it then only a key, a link, and no content data, or is the object also reflected in the graph, so I have information.
Right. Oh, sorry. I get what you mean. Yeah. So everything has to have a URL, so you can click through to it. But for things like a document, you'd also ingest the text of that document as well. So that's
title and
things like that. Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly. So that's how Rovo can kind of power the answer, because all that text is in the search index.
On the topic of storage, what is the limitation? How much data can I push to the team graph? Hundreds, thousands, millions of objects?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but there are documented limits to the amount of objects you can store in Rovo, and the idea is eventually there'll be sort of consumption-based pricing if you exceed those limits. That's sort of part of the Rovo pricing. But yeah, at the moment, it's just those soft limits on the number of objects. But if you Google it, I'm sure it'll come up as one of the first pages.
There's a whole page.
There's a whole page, yeah.
And a secondary question, general availability. When is it coming out of EAP?
Very soon, hopefully even next week. We're targeting, obviously, to have it GA for today or this week, but just a couple of last-minute hiccups meant we had to push it out, unfortunately. But yeah, it'll be soon.
Got another question over here.
And then one more at the front, Ian, if you want to start moving.
Yeah. Right. So this talk was mostly about how to get data into the graph. Is it also possible to get data out of the graph for other purposes, and what are the limitations on that?
Yeah, so for the purpose of a connector, you can sort of fetch your own objects back out. We are sort of running a separate EAP on consuming graph data, so we will have the API just for consuming broadly from across the graph. There is a workshop on that later in the week if you're around for the workshop part. But there's no, this talk was mostly just about the ingestion.
All right, thanks.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, sorry, ready to go?
Thank you very much. A very interesting idea. We're also thinking about how to get data into the teamwork graph. And I was wondering, this seems to be mostly designed towards external data. Is there also a way to get data into the teamwork graph from within Atlassian's ecosystem? So we have specialized data, which is not like text or anything that Rovo can read right away.
Yes, yeah. So I guess the way it's built is fairly generic in that. So if you were a marketplace app that uses Forge storage, for example, or even Forge Remote, you can still use the connector API to push data in as well. It doesn't have to necessarily come from a third-party source. You still have to go, there's still the admin process where you have to go and enable the connector.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about.
Which sort of starts to feel maybe a little bit silly if you've already got the app installed, but there is that additional step. So, which I think is important because customers might not want their data certainly showing up in search, or they might want at least the option to be able to turn it off. But we might need to, think about some of the wording on that screens to sort of support it a bit better, I think.
Thanks.
Yeah.
One over here.
Hi, thank you. Great speech and great implementation. I may ask how we can get free access to the teamwork graph in the developer instances to develop new connectors.
Just in general?
Yeah. So as I see, my developer instance wanted to create a new billing plan, which is around $30 per month.
Oh, right, yeah.
And for developer sites, it should be free, as I'm correct.
Yeah. So that's a good question. So we are revamping the developer bundle for the cloud sites. That's something we're being worked on. At the moment, getting access to Rovo is a little bit tricky. Like if you are a marketplace partner, you can use the Atlassian One demo sites as well. They all come with Rovo. The downside is they expire every couple of months and you have to create a new one. But for quickly getting up and running, that's the best option at the moment.
I think we've got time for one more question, potentially. Yeah.
What about connections in the graph? Can I, as a developer, also create connections? So when I create a new object and I already know it relates to those 5 Confluence pages and to a Jira work item, can I create those
connections?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So, and you're sort of, ingesting in the object, you can also add a bunch of links or relationships to other things like work items and pages. Yep.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. If anyone has any more questions, I think the best bet would be to go find Adam at the Forge booth. Thanks again. Maybe we can get a round of applause.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.